Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a lovely day. And before we get started here, I need to get two things out of the way. Number one, thank you to Robert Hughes for the thumbnail corner graphics, because now I have little corner images to show what kind of video we're putting up. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Number two, I apologize for not having a video yesterday because I was in New York City and I was playing games, and I can talk to you about those games on this weekend's podcast. Nothing mind-blowing or anything like that, but I have to wait until then. So yeah, I got back. I had to catch things up on the site, and it's just been an insane amount of work. So I apologize, but I'm here tonight at my first chance to make a video at 1:30 in the morning. And I'm going to talk about the Switch Online NES collection, because Nintendo has finally said that yes, they've heard people complaining, they've heard the requests for more games as part of the Switch Online service. Now, actually, are they actually going to add them? I don't know, but we will share their statement with you and let you decide. So Nintendo had their shareholders meeting, which is followed by a Q&A from investors, and they can ask whatever they want. And surprisingly, this time around, there weren't any really crazy questions. There were good questions. Sometimes the investors and stockholders have some really strange questions that they ask about, like, who mows your lawn at your offices? I really like it. That's not a joke. Someone asked that. But yeah, this time it was all sensible questions. And one of the questions asked was about legacy content, you know, NES games, Super Nintendo games, stuff like that. And the person asking was like, is there the potential for more games on the Switch Online service? So not just more NES games, but more games in general from legacy platforms. And is there a chance for more classic hardware, like, you know, NES Classic and Super Nintendo Classic? Are they going to continue that classic line? We don't have the official Nintendo translated answer, but we do have the answer that Nintendo gave in Japanese, which has been translated. So don't take this as word for word gospel. We'll have to see what Nintendo's official translation is, which should come out in a day or two. But here's the, let's say, the overall gist of what Nintendo said. Their response to the question was, quote, "At this place, we cannot tell new information about future classic hardware, among others, but we are thinking about providing an extension of the online service, which is currently providing Famicom/NES software, as well as other methods of providing them. We also recognize that there are opinions wanting to play past titles," end quote. So right off the bat, if Nintendo is doing more classic hardware, they're not going to talk about it, so we're just going to have to wait and see what happens there. But the other stuff about more games coming to the Switch Online service, that's very interesting. They say they're thinking about providing an extension of the online service. So the service so far is NES games or Famicom games, and while it might not be at the rate that we like or the amount that we want, they do provide it at like a regular interval, and they have been doing that. That's the whole part, or one of the whole points of the service. So when they're talking about an extension, it's not an extension of the games because that's already part of the package. They're talking about an extension of games for other platforms. They obviously just don't name platforms. And since before the Switch Online NES collection came out, fans have been like, what about Super Nintendo? What about N64? Why can't you do a GameCube service? So this is wonderful news to hear. Doesn't mean that we're actually ever going to see it, but just in my personal opinion, if Nintendo says they're thinking about providing an extension and also going out of their way to say that they've heard the opinions of people wanting to play past titles, it usually means they're seriously looking into and already tinkering with stuff based on what Nintendo has done in the past. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like this happens. It may not be in the time span that fans wanted it to be, but it's good to hear that at least they hear the voices out there, and they've certainly been deafening for a long time. And the comments swell up, especially when Nintendo puts out new NES games on the Switch Online NES collection, because fans are always like, I don't want these, I want games on other systems. So we'll see what happens. Keep your fingers crossed. Hawk on Go Nintendo says, "I'm honestly surprised they didn't even mention the Switch Online games library at all during E3. I thought for sure they'd announce Super Nintendo games or just some kind of change." Yeah, I'm surprised too. I really thought there would be something in there. I didn't think it would be anything monumental, but I thought they would at least mention it in passing at some point. Maybe talk about a few games that are coming up, or maybe talk about, like Hawk says, a couple changes to the service. But yeah, it was like the 3DS. Actually, to tell you the truth, I think they mentioned the 3DS more during E3, just in interviews, by saying we don't have anything to announce for the 3DS. When it comes to Switch Online NES collection, we just didn't hear about it at all. So Perhaps no news is good news, like they say, and that bleeds into this statement that was made. Maybe they're seriously working on adding in new things that fans have been asking for. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the service has been going for a while, and people haven't been happy with it for a while. And they always talk about how they're looking to add more value to their Switch Online service and give people more value for the $20 that they're paying for a year. And that would certainly be worth it to people. And I'm sure there would be new people that would sign up for the service that haven't signed up now if they knew they could get access to Super Nintendo, N64, and so on, games from those platforms. But again, it's all just speculation. We have this one comment from Nintendo, and hopefully it leads to fans getting at least a little bit more of what they'd like to see. Alright, my friends, that's the video for today. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting. It's very much appreciated. I'll be back tomorrow with something. I don't know what it is, but I promise you I will be here. So until then, have a lovely day, have a lovely evening, and I'll see you in a few short hours.